Hello, class. Welcome to my lesson that I'll be giving you guys today on the origins of American industry. I chose this topic as I was coming from the point of view from an 11th grade teacher, and today we'll be talking about the second U.S. Industrial Revolution. I specifically wrote down three big ideas and unit goals, which I will be discussing later in my digital plan template towards the end of this presentation. But yeah, I like this topic and I learned a lot about it. On my homepage, I tried to keep it as simple as I could. You know, obviously, a lot of students when starting, they have a sort of view, a sort of idea of how the America started with industry. So I chose to include one of the major players in the Industrial Revolution, Andrew Carnegie. I chose that quote. One of the quotes that stood out to me from him is "Concentration is my motto. First honesty, then industry, then concentration." My summary was pretty much from the point of view of I wanted to compare how kids view the world today, and I wanted to compare how they saw it, how individuals in America saw it back then. That's why my first sentence, I said, "Have you ever sat down to take a look at the technological marvels that exist in America today? How did we get to this point in time where we have endless information at our fingertips and resources such as food, medicine, and the accessibility of jobs are just a click away?" So, I just wanted to pose that question. And as you can see, I explained it pretty well. The subject area that I'm writing about is the U.S. Industrial Revolution, analyzing primary and secondary sources. And this grade level, 11th to 12th grade, this is where it covers mostly 11th grade because 11th graders usually do U.S. history. Sometimes in the senior year during government and the government slash econ route, students can get a little bit of history on the Industrial Revolution just to see where the economy went. So that's why I included 12th grade. Content standards. I put three content standards, which I will be discussing later as well in my template. CCS ELA Literacy RH 11 to 12.1 states students will be able to cite specific textual evidence to support analysis of primary and secondary sources, connecting insights gained from specific details to an understanding of the text as a whole. The next one I put was evaluates various explanations for actions or events and determine which explanation best accords with textual evidence, acknowledging where the text leaves matters uncertain. And the next one that I will be talking about and including in my subject is students will be able to integrate and evaluate multiple sources of information presented in diverse formats and media, visually, quantitatively, as well as in words, in order to address a question or solve a problem. So what are students going to get out of this? By the time students are finished with my unit, they will be able to analyze the relationships among the rise of industrialization, large-scale rural to urban migration, and massive immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe. 2, students will be able to track the change of landscape, as well as analyze the development of cities divided according to race, ethnicity, and class. And finally, students will examine the effects of political programs and activities of the populace. What's the big idea of this unit? The big idea is for students to gain an understanding of the key effects of industrialization, especially on the living and working conditions, including the portrayal of working conditions and food safety in the factories. To understand why the landscape changed, and why the growth of cities increased with the growth of industry and trade. To find the answer to the question, how were the different races and ethnicity divided during the industrial age, and how did this affect relationships among them? And finally, which political parties and movements came to prominence at the dawn of the industrial age, and what decisions did they make to spark the change? Here I have the link to my teacher site. So if you click on this, it will go to my teacher site. Let's see if we can go real quick. And it works perfectly. So students can go to this site and they find out they can go get this lesson directly. So let's go back to the site. All right. Next, the next tab for the assessments. As you can see for the assessments, I have formative and summative. Let's click the formative one first. So for the formative, as we learned in our lessons, it's pretty much you're pretty much letting the student know that there's other tools you can use to learn. For my formative tab, I chose to use a Quizlet, and the Quizlet is pretty easy. When students come on the Quizlet, they pretty much create their own flashcards, and the flashcards are used to help the student at least memorize certain key individuals, dates, terms having to do with the Industrial Revolution. And here I didn't choose a lot of words. I chose about like nine key terms. Um, uh, so as you can see, it's pretty nifty. You can go above the audio, and it'll tell you what you wrote. Also, let's see what I got. It's pretty self-explanatory. What I would do on this unit in this particular formative format, I would encourage students to also create more terms that they come across in their readings and in my lectures as well. I just included the key important figures that played a big part in the Industrial Revolution. So let's go back to the summative. So for the summative, I created a rubric for the final essay on this unit that students will be engaging in. As you can see, I covered the four main categories that I want students to focus on when writing their essay. The objective I wrote is that students will be writing a 5-page persuasive essay. And the question I addressed them is, which 3 factors contributed to the growth of industry during the Second Industrial Revolution, and why? So it's pretty self-explanatory. I want them to focus on their thesis statement, how accurate they got their information from, of course, grammar and spelling, and textual support. All right, let's leave this place. Here I embedded my assessment plan. As you can see, for entry level, I'll be giving the class lecture, presenting new information to them, followed by question and answer, as a formative assignment, which we'll see in the next in the next tab. Students could choose the theme of the Industrial Revolution and so forth. And of course, the last part of the summative, they'll have their outline and their essay, and followed by the persuasive essay, which they'll write finally. And I wrote the summary in the bottom. Nothing new. We all have to do it, so it was pretty fun. Let's go to the next tab. So this was one of the first tabs that we did, and I did the rise. I did a little lecture using Prezi, and I pretty much embedded my Prezi document, my presentation onto this, just explaining. It's pretty much my entry level assessment, which was my lecture presentation, followed by breaking the class into groups and discussing the content. And what I did also is, as a bonus after my lecture, I'll give a handout to the students, and they will do guided notes on the Industrial Revolution. If you click this link down here, you'll be able to download the form which I created, where students can actually follow. They can follow what I'm lecturing on, and they can answer and write their own notes as well. Sorry about that. And so you can find more. You can find more information by clicking over here. All right, let's go to the next tab. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. All right, this is the website. So for the iPad, the lesson 2 that we have, I created a website in which students can take upon a little scavenger hunt role. I've included the websites in each section, and students are expected to go on that website and find the answers within those websites and write it in. As you can see, the first one I have a U.S. history website. The second portion, I created a YouTube video in which the video highlights the important people that were in the Industrial Revolution. A little matching game, not too difficult, but it will encourage the students to be attentive. And finally, I have an illustration. Well, sorry, my hands are, as you can see, they can go over here and follow upon what to do and draw. All right, let's go to the next one. Sorry about that, it's taking time. Here I have my unit resources. As you guys can see, I included a variety of links where students can access and click upon, just to help them give them more information on the unit. And then we have our digital unit plan template. Sorry, it's taking time. This is the last page. So as you can see, I included my digital plan unit, and it wasn't that hard. I think every activity that we did, I added a little bit. I added a little bit of elements to it every time we worked on our unit, just to make sure that everything is aligned and everything that I'm discussing is on point. So yeah, that's my presentation in a nutshell. This was a fun assignment. I hope you guys enjoyed my website. And I look forward to looking at you guys. Thank you guys.